Kristiyan, welcome to the Leanpub launch video for Docker for React.js developers. I was wondering if you could take a moment to talk to us a little bit about yourself and about your book and what it's about and who it's for.
Thank you for inviting me, first of all, and I really enjoy to be such kind of events just to present what I'm doing, for why I'm doing that, and also who I am in the end. So let's start with little introduction, probably, who I am. So shortly, I'm a front-end developer. I spent my whole life working in front-end. I started like a junior front-end developer, working with JavaScript, later on TypeScript. I switched to Angular, then to React and Vue. So based on my experience, like a developer and also further on like a team lead and principal developer, what I understand is that to be a good front-end developer, you should explore your knowledge in different areas, like not to be just focused in front-end. Front-end is one part of the story, but the end story or the successful story is to deliver the product to the clients. So I decided to understand a little bit backend, databases, and not to learn or to be a backend developer, but just to explore and to know what are behind my application and how services is working. And that gave me a lot of experience. But unfortunately, it was not enough. Just because when I start learning backend, the communication with backends, it was absolutely improved and it was amazing. And I definitely advise nowadays people using AI and technologies to explore the knowledge, to not focus on some specific technology, but try to understand different parts. And what I realized after I completely finish the front end part and also back end is that I need something to communicate better with DevOps guys, just because what it was happened for me is that I was writing very good front end, but in the end, this front end, it was not working. And to be able to work, we should have standardization, we should have processes, we should use something which is really sustainable. And our approach back then, it was Docker, which I really love it. And nowadays, I'm really proud to be a Docker captain and person behind some of the sample guides like React.js, Vue.js, Angular, Node.js for Docker sample guides. But back then, I vividly remember that I have a lot of issues with DevOps guys. So just because they was explaining me things which are not familiar for me. They saying the error is basically down, or the format is not good, or my images is wrong, or my node version is not right, and I don't understand that, to be honest. So what I decided is try to explore a little bit DevOps. And thankfully, I have a friend of mine who has more than 20 years of experience in DevOps. So he started teaching me a little bit what is Docker, how everything is working behind, and I was curious. So I transfer this knowledge in a way that not just to understand Docker and how to do Docker applications, but also how to improve that and how to be really best on that. How we should do our backend and frontend in a way that it's really good. Not just to create some Docker file, but to create a really good Docker file, which is really optimized using best standards of Docker. It is working really good in the end. So yeah, shortly is that.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for explaining all that. That's really fantastic. I mean, one of the I was saying before we started recording, one of the great things about doing Leanpub is that we get awesome authors with awesome books that just show up out of the blue, and yours was like that. And one of the things that really struck me when I look at the new releases every day and I saw your book is the emphasis on actually understanding how things work. And I remember once back in the day when we did consulting at Leanpub, I remember hearing two developers who had like the client reported a bug and they were talking about it, and one of them said, well, I mean, I could solve it by just typing in the instructions I found on Stack Overflow to solve the problem for now, like a monkey. But I wouldn't actually understand what the problem is, and I wouldn't be able to fix it going forward and prevent it from happening going forward. And to me, that was just a sort of funny kind of cartoonish way of saying actually understanding how everything works, whether you're directly working on it or not, is actually fundamentally important for being a really great team member and making great products, wherever you are, whether you're front end, back end. Understanding the whole cycle is actually fundamentally important for being really great at what you're doing, and being a great teammate and being able to design things well on the front end means that if you understand, how Docker works in the back end and stuff like that, you're going to be way better at what you're doing. And that's one of the, we can always tell a kind of serious book that will actually improve people's kind of working lives and their career. And that's one of them. The book is Docker for React.js developers. Kristiyan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us a little bit about yourself and about your book. And anyone who wants to can find you pretty easily online. They can find the email, the author feature on Leanpub if they scroll down and look for it. But there's lots of other ways. You've got a website for your book as well that people can find. And you're on Twitter, and you've got 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, so you're easy to find there. So thank you very much, Kristiyan, for taking the time to do this launch video with me today.
Thank you. It was absolutely pleasure. And the main idea behind everything is to support the community. Just because I know the feeling to fail, feeling to be blamed for something which is not working, and the feeling that you don't know. So my idea is simple: to help front-end developers to understand better DevOps and to work better and to be better professionals in the end. And my book is delivering that. I spent 11 years working with front-end and DevOps. And as I said, I deliver some of the guides from Docker. So I believe that the resource will be really beneficial for everyone seeking for upgrading the knowledge of Docker or understand the basics. But also what I found is the issue in the community. We don't have many resources related to Docker and front-end. Usually Docker resources are related to backend. And it's hard to be a front-end developer and seeing images from Java, for example, or something else. So I decided to fix that.
Yeah, well, and this book has definitely done the job. So yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you.